Yo, what's going on, friends? Welcome back to the channel Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. I do hope you're doing well. I really do hope that. Can we turn the aperture up? No? Yes? No? What is happening? Oh, that's nice. Yes, we're going to do a Chelsea news. Of course, I did a video speaking about the Wes Fofana Instagram stuff. We'll get back on that in a moment. But we've got a Here We Go from Big Fab Rom. Nkunku to Leipzig or Bayern or Inter? Who ruddy knows? Could be anyone, but I do think it will get done. And there's some really interesting stuff about Alejandro Garnacho. There's so much, like, high-octane drama. Johan Visser, like, getting rid of all the Brentford stuff on his socials, putting his picture black, refusing to train. Alexander Isak, the saga is insane. I've been covering it on the second channel. Please plug the widget. Second channel, Football Yannick. Pretty much most days at the moment, that story. It's incredible, really. Statements from the players, statements from the club. Go check out Football Yannick on YouTube for daily content over there. But indeed, Alejandro Garnacho, seemingly pretty relaxed. Chelsea or nothing. And he's rejected moves, Garnacho, from Scudetto winners, Italian champions Napoli, from recent domestic treble winners Bayer Leverkusen, and current German reigning champions and European superpower Bayern Munich. He said no to them all because he wants Chelsea. Which is really interesting because me, I don't know about Napoli, defo not Leverkusen, but I put my bloody so-and-sos on Bayern Munich would pay more money to Garnacho than Chelsea. He's guaranteed league titles at Bayern than Chelsea, but he wants to come to Chelsea, which is endearing. We'll speak about that a little bit as well, but you know, plug the second channel. Heck, make sure you subscribe to this one. The flagship YouTube channel over here, Football Therapy, where there's daily Chelsea content. Why would you want to miss that? Lots of you watch but don't subscribe, so make sure you do. Because we're on the road to 200 beautiful thousand followers, and you could be part of that. Alright, so where's Fofana? Apparently there's no animosity between him and Chelsea. He's done like a story post, like ready for the Friday or whatever. And yeah, I've been reliably informed that he's fine. It doesn't change my point how I think it's, and also there was some speculation reports from Sky that not everyone, it's not just him that has access to his social media account. Now, I kept the video up because I didn't say he's leaving or whatever. I speculated what's happening. I waxed lyrical about him as a profile of defender in this team. So go watch that video if you haven't seen it. And what doesn't change is whether it's him just being an absolute numpty or it's someone running his social media account. Amidst him yet to make his return from a long-term injury, uncertainty around the centre-backs, transfer window links to Chelsea signing a new centre-back, Maresca pretty much asserting he's not the profile he wants for what Levi has and what's missing. Who decided amidst all that, well, let's just delete all that. I mean, yes, apparently you guys corrected me. His signing for Chelsea post was still there. Nothing in his bio, nothing in his profile pitch, nothing in all the posts since. You know, there's been friggin' Leicester ones and stuff. Even if that's true, he wants to just cleanse it and do trophy winning ones or whatever. Even if that's true, who decided to do it now? It's so bad timing. Either he's being an absolute sausage, who, you know, I adore him, he's my favourite centre-back at Chelsea. Either he's like been a sausage and just sort of whatever, or one of his media team needs to get fired. Because talk about, you know, lack of ability to read the room. Anyway, we won't speak about that anymore. Do go watch that video though, because if you're interested in the defensive dynamics of Maresca's Chelsea, check it out. Right, so we do have a here we go from the Italian journalist, dare I say, influencer, Romano, and it is Vega, who did have a whole host of suitors, by the way. But he's landed in Villarreal. So, you know, I think we were played for Chelsea and Juve. Bayern were looking at him. Atletico Madrid. So these are much higher profile clubs than Villarreal. How do you behave differently? He might still have a chance at Chelsea. Like, I'm not saying he's downgraded and whatever. But it's a package worth 30 million euros for Chelsea. So, yeah. More than doubling our money on him. and huge book profit after a year as well. So Romano has tweeted or posted on X, exclusive, Villarreal agreed deal to sign Renato Vega permanently. No loans, we don't want loans. Permanently, here we go. Agreement with the player also with Chelsea on 29.5, a 30 million euro package. And we get a heavy sell-on. And this is one thing, I talk about him not going to Juve, Bayern, friggin' Atletico Madrid. Villarreal, he does well there and does really well. Villarreal will sell to a bigger club. No offense to them. It's just, Nico Jackson. We got him and other players. So say he does really well. He reaches his potential. He's very young. Say he gets sold for 50 million, 60 million in like 2 years' time. Chelsea will make even more money out of it. It's a great bit of business. And honestly, it's worth applauding. Because 30 million is like Arsenal's second highest sale of all time, and it's probably not even in our top 10 or even top 15. We are the best sellers, not just in Europe, but in world football, and they've done it again. They got a great acquisition in Renato Vega. He had a really good contributing 6 months, and then a really good 6-month loan, and then a really good profit for Chelsea with, notably, a great sell-on, a heavy, quote, heavy sell-on clause. Superb work from the Chelsea sporting directors, who they themselves have somehow wrangled a contract extension. I don't really want to speak about that. I found that kind of boring. Whatever. They've got more years in the project. I think they're already to 2028, so what's that, 3 years' time? It's gone to 32 or 33. Let's just see where you are in 2 years, and I'll get excited that you're hanging around for longer. Right, let's talk about Cristo, because we are making moves now. I tell you, some of the big names are out the door. Your Joao Felixes, your kid in Dewsbury Hall for 30 million quid. That's big peas, bro. And, Renato Vega, very sellable asset. I imagine the likes of Disassi won't be long now. But of course, a high-profile name, and this is the one that will trigger Xavi Simons to come in. It's Christopher Nkunku, because when Christopher Nkunku vacates, it means the Felix Dewsbury Hall Nkunku position at left pocket, attacking mid, whatever. There's enough players out when you go, right, bring in Xavi Simons, and I think genuinely the deal is in the chamber for Xavi Simons to Chelsea. I'm not going to bore you by echoing the sentiments about why Simons is a really good signing for Chelsea. Go back and watch older videos. But yesterday Ornstein wrote on The Athletic that Leipzig, so his former club, have stepped up moves for him. The discussions are for a permanent deal, which is of course what Chelsea want. They don't want a loan. Nkunku is open to the possibility of rejoining his former club, and he, like Chelsea, wants a permanent transfer and no loan. So Leipzig and Chelsea have already been in contact for informal talks and continue over a deal, of course, for Xavi Simons. So while they're still in the room, Chelsea and Leipzig, talking about Simons, talking about Nkunku, maybe it makes it all easier. But of course, Bayern Munich have also been in negotiations with Chelsea over a move for Nkunku. However, they are looking at a loan, maybe with an option rather than an obligation to buy, and Chelsea do not want that. A deal for Nkunku to return to Leipzig is not considered close at this stage. This was yesterday, a lot can happen. The 27-year-old is expected to leave Chelsea, of course. He is not happy at the club. He has been the subject of inquiries from clubs in Germany, England, Italy, and Chelsea valuing the international at 50 million euros, which is 43.2 million pounds, having put an original 65 million quid price tag on him in January. So this is the thing that's frustrated me a little bit. I know he played a bit in the second half of the season and in the conference, and yes, he did score that goal in Benfica and the Club World Cup, and it is important, so fine. But had we said, so not 65 million pounds, had we said 55 million pounds or 10 million pounds left, I reckon we would have got that and sold him because it was interest, which is, 12 million more than what we're asking for now. And even that's considered steep and might have to go down. I know it's like, what if, settings, man, but whatever. Like I said, we're here where we're here. Let's look forwards and not backwards. Nkunku joined Chelsea, of course, in 2023. He's scored loads of goals in the Bundesliga. Now, Romano has also said on his YouTube channel or his podcast, I believe, today, so Leipzig are continuing to ask about Nkunku, but like Bayern, they now want a loan. Chelsea have told them permanent or nothing. Talks are ongoing with all clubs. I reckon there's a lot of interest for Nkunku. He still has the streets, as it were, as a really effective... I mean, we know he's a great finisher. The aforementioned goal against Benfica, but look at his goals at Chelsea. Although he didn't score one, he tried a couple of overhead kicks. I always say there's no player in the Chelsea squad, apart from Nkunku, that would try an overhead kick. That's not a slight on Cole Palmer, who's an amazing player. It's just not his vibe. It's one of the few alluring elements of Alejandro Garnacho. Obviously, he scored that historic goal a couple of seasons ago, whatever. Or was it last season? My time is melted into my fragile little brain. He's got that I don't want to say aura, ego, that he can score an overhead kick. Nkunku can, because he's just an all-round excellent finisher. Despite being quite short and diminutive, he can still score a lot of headers, score with both feet. He'll score long-range goals, scrappy goals. He's an elite finisher. Not necessarily always a prolific goal scorer, but his numbers will be very good should you put him in a position to do so. We've learned, coaches have learned that's not at Chelsea, but that does not mean that clubs won't want him. And it doesn't surprise me at all that the majority of suitors have been in Germany, because he tears up the Bundesliga. I would assume he himself would want to go to Bayern. There's an element of going back that never seems good, back to Leipzig. Bayern, Koeman's gone, Musiala's injured. I know they brought in DS, but maybe Company might consider to play him down the middle sometimes, and Nkunku, maybe, I'm not sure. But, I can imagine just because of the profile of team, he would prefer Bayern, and it's a change. And he'd just clean up with more trophies and happy days, personally. And he'd be replacing another Frenchman, and Coman, who's gone. So... that's why I think from his perspective. From a Chelsea perspective, if it helps us get Xavi Simons over the line, then I kind of... whatever. Either way, for me it's comforting, because it kind of indicates and infers that, we will sell Nkunku. Yeah, we will sell Nkunku in the coming days. It's not giving what we're going to do with Raheem Sterling. So that's a positive, right? Right, speaking of the aforementioned Alejandro Garnacho, I'm going to read something off UnitedInFocus.com, which is a Manchester United fan site, news site. So it's coming from the lens of Man United fans. And I'll talk about what I have seen in other articles or tweets from journalists. So they're still yet to finalise an agreement to sell Garnacho this summer. Heading into the summer, Ruben Amorim, of course, has named 5 outcasts who are left not training away from United's first team. And of course, among them is Alejandro Garnacho. His comments after the Europa League final spelled the end of his United career. And of course, already Amorim had told him, you have to go. And the summer has been spent trying to find a new home for the Carrington graduate. It's interesting because they bought him from Atletico Madrid for a few million or a few 100,000, but he integrated into the academy first. So I don't understand quite if it's pure profit or not. I kind of hope it is, because it means we can get him for less, probably, because it means more, the money. Recently, so this is big, guys. Like I said at the top of the video, recently Garnacho turned down a move to, again, the aforementioned Bayern Munich, who you would think Nkunku is desperate to get to, with his sole focus on a move to Chelsea. Now, there could be a few reasons for that. I think Bayern Munich definitely pay him more money than Chelsea with our wage structure. I think they, even if it's like an extra 50k a week, I'd really be confident they give him more money. If he goes to Bayern Munich, he'd win more trophies than Chelsea. Maybe like less meaningful, the Bundesliga shield in a dominant monopoly league. For Bayern, but that kind of bodes well, because it means he wants to play in the Premier League. He sees the Premier League as the best league in the world. I wonder if part of his reason to join Chelsea is because he wants to dunk on Man United. I don't know if that's enough reason for a career change. It would be incredibly petty, but very funny. And dare I say, like the rest of the youngest players Chelsea are the youngest player in the youngest team in the Premier League that's just got a bit younger. He's 21. He probably sees the project and like, yeah, I want to join the party. I'm convinced, like the other guys, like your Delaps, your Joao Pedros, your Cole Palmers, or all your Estevãos, your Andre Santoses, your Romeo Lavias, Jamie Gittins, all these very, very young players. Are like, I see what's happening there. We'll develop together. We'll be like, a vintage. It'll be an era together. It is easy to see that. And by the way, we just beat PSG 3-0 in the Club World Cup final. So there is an allure. That's not me being biased and blue-tinted lenses. That's facts. Everything I've just said to you there is facts. Chelsea are in advanced talks for Garnacho. Of course, long ago, we agreed personal terms with the player. So he's like, yeah, pay me that. I'll sign that deal. Go, get the deal done. And he's been sitting and waiting patiently. Both clubs are yet to agree a final fee with only 11 days remaining on the window. The clock is ticking. Now, Alejandro Garnacho it's reported he's not scared to stay at United. So he doesn't want to go anywhere else, only Chelsea. But if it's not Chelsea, he will stay and wait. It's been reported that United value Garnacho at 50 million, and Chelsea are reluctant to pay that, unsurprisingly. They did want 70 million for him before in January, so that 70 million's gone to 50. Chelsea feel this is an opportunity to just take a player for not much money. Clubs remain in talks over an agreement, but if it does collapse, Garnacho has made it clear what he plans to do. According to transfer expert, here he is again, Fabrizio Romano, Garnacho is not scared to stay at United and remain out of Ruben's squad for the next campaign. From what I'm hearing, either he goes to Chelsea or he stays at United out of the squad. Garnacho is not scared about that. Yeah, so this is obviously a Manchester United based website. The next segment is Alejandro Garnacho is ruining his own career. So let's read this. Garnacho has been self-destructive with his actions over the summer, dating back to his unnecessary comments after the final. Amorim told Garnacho he better pray a club signs him this summer in a scathing statement to the young winner. Yeah, that's apparently what he said in front of the whole squad. Amorim will be desperate to offload Garnacho following that incident, so his decision to stay put at Carrington would be terrible news for the Portuguese head coach. I mean, I don't think it would be. I think Amorim would just hopefully be granted, like, for example, Maresca, well, I'm not going to use him, just put him over there. It'll be like a Sancho thing again, separated. Given Garnacho's attitude at United, perhaps it's not so surprising that only a handful of clubs have registered interest in him this summer, and none of them are going to meet the £50 million asking price. Yeah, look, I'm not going to, even though this is giving, bitter United, I totally understand the red flags. Everyone does. Everyone does. Yeah, so, I read somewhere that Chelsea value Alejandro Garnacho at £25 million. I'm just going to quickly find out where I saw that. Chelsea value Garnacho at £25 million. I saw Madueke for 52. This is all like tweets online. But the source... Oh, Sky Sports! As much as you believe that. Sky Sports saying we value Alejandro Garnacho at £25 million. They wanted 70 million and we're like 25 million. And that might be total. So there might be like 20 million with 5 in add-ons or, that's absolutely mental, isn't it? It's not mental. Look, I'll say it right now. If Chelsea signed Garnacho, who was desperate for Chelsea, twerking for Chelsea for £25 million, he is an undeniable talent. And if Chelsea are certain, and they've done their background checks, that they can deal with his attitude. Lovely bit of business, you must say. We're light on the left-hand side. What if he comes in and just scores straight away? It'll be so funny for the theatre of football, for the drama, for the narrative, for the pure narrative. If he just starts dunking goals and, help getting assists, 25 million quid from Man United. It would be tasty stuff, you'd have to say. Let me know what you think. Comment down below. I'll be very interested to hear what you think. Thank you, as always, for liking and subscribing and supporting the content, as is the same situation for the second channel, Football Yannick. Daily content, you might like it. Go check it out. Like and subscribe. Yeah, man. please come back and hang out with your old pal Jan. We can have a cuddle. Or not. Peace.